Okay, well, I have thought for the day. Here it goes. You know, you hear the expression, in my wildest dreams, I just didn't imagine it, you know. And there's something very essential to be able to have a dream and to imagine something and conjure up an image of something in your head. Although that, you know, follow your dream has sort of become a cliche. I was at Roosevelt, the graduation, and you know, one of our homies graduated there, and afterwards he was all in his captain gown. He said, "Hey, I want you to meet my parents." And so we started to walk through, and then I see he would stop and greet some of his co-graduates, and after he would give them a big abrazo, he'd say to them, "Follow your dream." You know, it was kind of a cliche, because everybody, every student, speaker, and every teacher who spoke kept saying, "Follow your dream." And it's become a cliche, but it's sort of essential. I had a homie who wrote me from prison who's doing 125 years to life. He won't ever leave there alive. And he was looking back on his life and he said, "I couldn't find my dream." You gotta have a dream, he says. And it's true. Now right now, if a reporter went to any place where there are vadios and gangs and asked an active gang member this question, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" Everybody knows what the two-part answer is. What is it? Dead or in prison. Everybody knows that. That's not the image you conjure up because you're here. Amen. And you're here this morning because you refuse that to be your future. But all of us remember, you know, the decade of death, or at least a lot of us do, from 88 to 98, when it was just so violent. And homies and homegirls planned their funerals and not their futures. In really concrete, specific ways. I got this all the time. You know, make sure that you play this song at my funeral. A 16-year-old kid sang this to me. Homegirl saying, "I want to be buried in this dress." If you cannot imagine a future, then your present isn't compelling for you, and if your present doesn't compel you or uphold you, then you will not care whether you inflict harm, and you won't care whether you duck to get out of harm's way. It's sort of how it works. So I knew a homie who got out of prison after 3 years, and he's in my office, and he says, "I want to tell you this dream." Homies always tell me their dreams, you know. I was at Philadelphia, and a very earnest high school student who read my book said, "I want to ask you a question. Why do the homies think you know how to interpret dreams?" I said, "I don't know." Part of it has to do with homies presume that dreams are indicators of something bad will happen, when the truth, of course, is that it's God's dream come true, that only good things happen for you. That's what God's hope is. So this homie, after 3 years in prison, is in my office. He goes, "I got to tell you this dream. It's a recurring dream. I kept having it in prison. And in this dream, I'm butt naked, standing in the middle of an empty lot. And I slowly start to put on clothes. And then I notice the empty lot. And I look at the lot and I say, I'm going to build a house right here. And so I do, brick by brick. And when it's done, I step back and I look at it and I say, yes. Then I turn to my 3 daughters and I say, come, my babies." And when he finished telling the story, he was just sobbing. And I'll be damned if that dream didn't come true. You know, maybe it wasn't empty lot, and maybe it wasn't brick by brick, and maybe it wasn't butt naked, you know. But honest to God, he created a home where he could say yes, and then turn to his daughters and say, come, my babies. I know it's a cliche, but if you can't conjure up an image, you're not going to be able to see what tomorrow looks like, and you kind of have to do it. You follow your dreams because it pulls you into your future. And unless you can see it and imagine it, it's hard to do. Because everybody's got to have a dream.